UFC Fight Night, Tuivasa versus Tybura is this weekend. Is it the best card? I don't know. Come and find out. But we got your full card breakdown coming up. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the 10-7 MMA. I'm DES, and as always, I'm here with my guy, the one and only Dino Bam Bam.
What up, Dino? How you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling all right, man. You know, I'm a little let down by this card, to be quite honest with you. Coming off an absolutely massive card with some massive finishes and huge names on it. And then now we've got, fucking Bryan Battle and Ange Loosa. Good fighters, but not main event worthy. You know what I mean?
No, I feel that. I mean, look, Dino, this week, next week, they're a little shaky. And then, things start to pick up a little. And then we get Vettori and our Benoit, Brendan Allen. And then we're on to 300, bro. So the road begins here, but it's like the beginning of a road trip. You know what I'm saying?
The vibes are low.
Yeah,
we haven't gotten snacks yet. Some whack ass person's on aux, so just the vibes are not right yet. You're not blasted yet.
Shout out Davey. He's probably the one on aux playing some nonsense.
For sure. But anyway, first of all, before we get right into it, I think you have a little message.
I do. Thank you for reminding me. If you guys are enjoying the content, or you've enjoyed previous content, or you're looking forward to the amazing, delicious content we have coming up before UFC 300, do us a favor, hit that little subscribe button, ring the little bell, Dino. That's the sound of the bell, guys. Not so optimistic. Again, it's the beginning of the road trip, right? But that's the sound of the bell. Hit that bell. That's going to notify you when our videos drop. Also, follow us on Instagram at the107MMA. Dino, let's get into this card. I'm not super pumped about it, but there's some okay fights.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it. Getting right into it. First fight of the night. We've got Chad and Helliger. He's taking on Charalampos Gregoriou. Dino Bam Bam, take it away.
Hey, brother. Chad and Helliger. Hold on. Let me move the screen a little bit over here and then do one of these, Dino. Boom. We're ready to go. All right, Chad and Helliger, guys. Good power. Good jiu-jitsu, good cardio and pace, a decent striker. No real takedowns to go with that jiu-jitsu, however. He also doesn't really have takedown defense, so go figure. But he does do a great job on the ground when he's able to be on top and controlling. Last time out, he lost to Jose Johnson. He found some success in that one with the grappling, and then he found himself getting subbed. I keep saying found himself. I don't know what the hell's going on. I've had too much coffee, but he found himself a loss there is what he found. He's taking on Charalampos Gregoriou, a fighter coming to us from the White's Contender Series, a.k.a. Dancing with the Stars. He's from Cyprus, Dino. I think this is the first time I've ever seen a fighter from Cyprus in the UFC. Can you think of anyone?
I can't think of another one.
Yeah, I don't think there has been. But anyways, he's a really powerful striker. I love his leg kicks, man. Decent grappling. He looks to be a good prospect. His last fight was on the Contender Series. As I mentioned, he fought Cameron Smotherman. We didn't get to see too much of him in that fight. Cameron Smotherman only lasted about a minute. Minus 205 here for Gregoriou. I don't necessarily love the odds, but I understand it. Chad Helliger is a very tough veteran, but at the same time, he's not like the most reliable guy. I feel like Gregoriou is probably the better fighter everywhere in this one. I think he wins this one. I'll go round 2 TKO for Charalampos Gregoriou from Cyprus. Sounds like a Game of Thrones guy.
Yep. By the way, I think I've told you about my theory on last names. Okay. So if your name's Cameron Smotherman, do you think your great granddaddy used to smother men?
Probably, right?
Probably, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I listen. I kind of disagree that Chad Helliger doesn't have good takedowns. I just think when he's fighting somebody who's somebody who looks like 2-3 weight classes above him, and somebody like Jose Johnson, I just think it's really tough to get the takedowns in that situation. Now, overall, I kind of think he's better, to be honest with you. I mean, he's definitely got the better ground game. I'm not huge on Charalampos Gregoriou, to be honest with you, but 37-year-old Chad Helliger, kind of a late bloomer, hasn't really fought the greatest competition either. He's always a tough out, and I think his wrestling to me is a plus, but yeah, I think he's a tough out for a lot of people. I think he gives it his all, but for me, the biggest thing is he's 37 years old now. And then on top of that, I don't think you mentioned this, but he's got a fucking 13-inch reach disadvantage. So when you have such a power difference, and Charalampos Grigoriou has a lot of power, you know, big hands. I don't like see him going super far personally, but he does have a lot of power. That's undeniable. Plus a 13-inch reach advantage. I gotta agree with you, man. Quite frankly, I think he's gonna get it in the first round. If it goes past like the halfway point, excuse me, I think Chad and Helliger's chances go way up, to be honest with you. And I could see him pulling this one out. But I just can't pick him here. So I'm taking Charalampos. Moving on. Next fight of the night, we've got Corey McKenna, and she's taking on Jacqueline Amorim. Man, talk about a reach disadvantage again. And this time in a women's fight, you don't really see it this bad. But we've got, I think it's a 9.5 or 10-inch reach disadvantage for Corey McKenna. Jacqueline Amorim has a 68-inch reach. That is massive. Massive for a women's fighter. Corey McKenna has the absolute shortest reach in the entire UFC, by the way. I think it's 58 or 58.5 inches. She's tiny. She's got super short hands. But she's game, man. She's, 23 years old, I want to say. She's really game. She comes out there. She's aggressive. And I think they're very different in that regard, too. Jacqueline Amorim, skill for skill, is probably the better fighter. Certainly has the better ground game. For me, the Sam Hughes fight just left kind of a bad taste in my mouth. I think there was a point where she had like a submission locked in, maybe twice, and she just could not, didn't have the strength or I guess the endurance, the energy. I don't know. It literally looked like she just wasn't strong enough to get and complete the submission, which is so weird to me because she's not like a small girl. You know, I don't know. It's kind of weird to me. So I just expect Corey McKenna to be the aggressor here. I think, you know, she does have really short hands, or short arms, I'm sorry. But, yeah, I mean, she's pretty aggressive. She doesn't have a ton of power, but I think she'll fight her way in there, get some strikes off in the clinch, too. Yeah, I just think she's more ready to bang. Jacqueline Amorim, like I said, she's probably the better fighter. And if it goes to the ground, Corey McKenna could have a hard time here. I don't know what it is, man. The last fight of Jacqueline Amorim's left a bad taste in my mouth. Corey McKenna, I think, is really game. She's super young. I expect her to continue to improve. I'm going to pick her by decision here.
Yeah. So my microphone's doing that stupid mute thing again. So we're just going to have to deal with that today. But
okay.
Anyways, yeah, I'm kind of with you in a way, and I'm against you in another way. I don't necessarily think that Jacqueline Amorim's the more talented fighter here. You know, I really do think it is Corey McKenna. Corey McKenna, I knew she was young. I knew she was like 22, 23, whatever, 24 years old.
Why you got the thing? You're breaking it down.
What is that?
Why am I on the big TV screen?
That's a great question. We're all over. Today sucks, huh? We're back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm really tripping out now. But anyways, I do think Corey McKenna, we know Corey McKenna's young, right? I didn't know how young Jacqueline Amorim was. She's only 28 years old, so I always thought of her as being like 31, 32, but whatever. She's young as well. To me, Dino Amorim is good, but McKenna's the real deal, man. I think she has the ability to not get taken down and probably get her own takedowns if she chooses to go down that road. On the feet, to me, she's just more crisp. This has decision written all over it. I have to go with McKenna by UD. By the way, she's a super tiny underdog, so there's an underdog pick for you guys.
I'm down, and I mean, I really like the odds on that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Anyway, moving on to the third fight of the night, we've got Josh Kuyak Kulibau. Oh, man, I guess he was my boy at one time, but I don't know. He's kind of fallen out of favor with me. He's taking on Danny Silva, who's making his UFC debut. Dino Bam Bam, what do you think about this one? You're muted, brother. You're muted.
God damn it. Isn't that annoying? It's funny that you mentioned that he's a your boy, or he was a your boy, because the first line on my thing is your boy, Josh Kulibau. But anyway, Kulibau, good striker, man. He throws bombs. He's down to brawl. He is hittable as hell, obviously, because of that. That's just his fight style. He's tough to take down. He's tough in general. We saw him get dropped in his last fight in the first round and then be able to survive that. He ultimately lost the decision, but still an impressive showing. But he is one-dimensional as hell. He's taken on Danny Silva, which is probably in UFC terms, the plainest name ever, right?
I was thinking the same thing.
It's ridiculous. It's literally like John Smith in the UFC. So whatever. Yet another Dancing with the Stars debutante here. 8 career wins, 5 by KO, 3 by decision. Another striker with good footwork. He's slick. He doesn't have the most power in the world, but he's probably the more technical guy here as far as the striking is concerned. Striker versus striker. We got a powerful guy versus a more technical guy. I'd be super comfortable with Culibao if he didn't just get his ass kicked last time out. To me, Dino, Culibao pops way more on tape, so I'm forced to pick him here, but I'm not betting this fight at all. I'll go Culibao by decision. I think it should be fun, though.
Yeah, you pretty much broke it down, man. The Lerone Murphy fight, you know, it wasn't like a completely one-sided fight, but he did definitely get his ass kicked, and that was against just basically a higher level striker, you know. Josh Culibao, what he does really well is he's such a good counter striker, right? He's such a good counter puncher. So, you know, for me, Danny Silva, I do expect him, even as the debuting fighter, I expect him to be more aggressive. I expect him to be the one pushing forward. He does have to be careful. He does sometimes fire from the hip. So he's got to be careful with somebody like Josh Culibao because he will catch you with a nice counter. So, you know, Silva, I think, probably has the better hand speed too. I think both these guys have a decent amount of power. This is a tough one, man. Like you said, I'm not going to be betting it. I definitely see this as very much has a war written all over it, in my opinion, has fight of the night potentially written all over it. It's tough, man. I've gone back and forth on this one because Danny Silva, he did look damn good in his debut, man. And the other guy looked really good too. I forgot his name, Pacheco or something like that. I forgot what it was, but yeah, both of them looked really good. Culibao coming off a bad loss. I feel like we've kind of seen him plateau, but man, it's a tough fight to take. I'm going to say Silva, man. I'm going to say Silva by decision. I'm not comfortable with it. I'm not betting it, but that's just the way I got to go right now. Moving on, next fight of the night, and we've got yet another debuting fighter, and I'm talking about Mitch Ramirez. He's taking on Thiago Moises, longtime veteran, of course. Mitch Ramirez coming from Dana White's Contender Series. One of the rare times we see a guy coming from the Contender Series who got knocked the fuck out. So, man, Mitch Ramirez, in my opinion, kind of one-dimensional. You know, he's got a cool story. He was a big-time drug addict since he was a kid. Went to prison for a long time. I forgot, like 40 months or something. It was a long, long time. So good on him for, you know, getting his life straight and you know, continuing to push forward. I just think on very short notice, taking on Thiago Moises, who wasn't that long ago, he went 4 rounds with Islam Makhachev. You know, got beat up by Benoit Saint Denis last time. But, man, I just think that there's a really, really big difference in ground game here. Thiago Moises is, you know, still a pretty damn good fighter. Thiago Moises is actually the younger fighter here, too, believe it or not. Yeah, the level of competition can't be compared. Ramirez is definitely live for a knockout, in my opinion. You know, he does have good power, in my opinion. His best shot is to do kind of what BSD did early on in the fight versus Moises last time out, where he just pressured the shit out of him and came in swinging, throwing long combinations, trying to get him against the fence, and just hope a big shot lands. I just can't, in my right mind, pick Mitch Ramirez, man. I just think Thiago Moises, not the most technical striker, but he can hold his own on the feet. And then I think if and when it gets to the ground, and I do expect it to, I just think Thiago Moises is just so much better on the ground. So I'm going to pick Moises. I'm going to say by sub in the second round.
All right, I love it, man. Yeah, look, you know, I like Ramirez, man. Don't get it twisted. He's a fun fighter. He looks like he could be solid, but I think there's just levels, right? It's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, I know Thiago Moises gets a lot of shit for being like overrated or not the guy that we thought he was, but the dude's only 28 years old. You mentioned his losses. Islam Makhachev, Benoit Saint Denis, Benil Dariush. Those are the guys he's losing to, right? So the record looks kind of shitty, but you got to factor that in. And not only is he fighting those guys, he's fighting those guys at 25 years old, 26 years old. That's crazy. That's absolutely nuts. I know, you know, they're obviously young too, but regardless, minus 350, he is the significantly better grappler here. I think he gets a takedown early, and I think he outclasses Ramirez and finds himself a sub. I'm going first round submission. Yeah, I'm very comfortable with this fight.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Moving on, next fight, we've got Ode Osbourne. He's taking on Jafel Filho. And this is an interesting one, man. I'm actually very curious to see what you have to say about this one.
Cool, cool. Let's start with Jafel Filho. Fast-paced guy, man. He's willing to brawl. He's got good takedowns, good takedown defense. On the feet, Dino, he's not too technical, but he does throw big as shit. What we saw with him and Meerchaert, right, lets you know that he's super damn dangerous on the ground. We already know he's dangerous on the feet because you can see it in the way that he throws. He's like winging big-ass shots. So the guy's dangerous, man. He's taking on Osbourne. Osbourne, a weird guy. He looks at times like he could hang with the best guys in the division. And then in other times, he kind of just looks like mid. So I don't really know what to make of Ode, but he is a striker. He's got good range management, good power. He's fast twitch. He's got solid takedowns. The takedown defense isn't great. And I think ultimately that's going to be his downfall here. I don't hate the Ode Osbourne minus or the plus 145 line here. I don't love Filho at minus 175 either. I think this fight's closer to a pick'em than what the odds are indicating. But I'm still going to trust Filho here. I'm taking Jafel Filho. I'll say third round submission. I just feel like he's going to eventually get to Ode Osbourne, right? We saw Ode Osbourne get taken down, and he kind of has been struggling there, and Jafel Filho might be the guy.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you in the ultimately how I think it's going to end. I do see that Filho, or in my opinion, Filho is going to get the sub. I actually think he's going to get in the first round before they get all sweaty. Listen, man, I don't think Ode – I think you said sometimes he's mid, sometimes he's good. To me, I would say he looks more mid than good, to be honest with you. I mean, what's his best win? Charles Johnson? And I thought Charles Johnson won that fight, quite frankly. So – yeah, I don't know. I mean, Jafel Filho, in my opinion, even in the UFC, already has fought better competition. He had, I mean, if Muhammad Mokaev was anybody else, maybe he would have tapped. He literally let his knee get shredded to shit just so he would not tap, which, God, that's crazy as shit, to be honest with you. But Jafel Filho, man, a lot of power. I actually like his 1-2s. I mean, he's got a lot of heart, too. We've seen him get dropped and then get back up and end up winning a fight, too. He's got good power. You don't expect a guy that looks like that to have good power, but, man, the submission, he's one of the most dangerous submission artists in the weight class. I'm not a huge Ode believer. For me, this is one of the locks of the card, to be quite honest with you. I feel very, very, very comfortable taking Jafel Filho. I think he'll be towards the top of this division for a long time. I really like this guy.
That's interesting because, again, I am picking Jafel Filho here, but I'm not nearly as confident as you are. Are you comfortable betting this?
Man, I think so, dude.
Okay.
Maybe not by sub, but money line, I'm very comfortable. I really like it as a parlay piece.
Interesting, because I'm contemplating sprinkling on Ode Osbourne, but we'll have that conversation later.
For sure. Yeah, he's never really impressed me. I don't know.
It's fair.
Anyway, moving on. Next fight of the night, we've got Josiane Nunes. She's taking on Chelsea Chandler. Chelsea Chandler, of course, famous for running away last time versus Norma Dumont, which, my God, is Norma Dumont thick. Let's just have a brief moment of silence for Norma Dumont's cheeks. Amen, Lord. Anyway, Josiane Nunes is 5'2" at featherweight. I think this fight's at bantamweight, though, right? Yeah, women's bantamweight. But she fought at featherweight last time out versus, Zara Farron. Holy shit. Like, that's an insane weight and size difference. They literally looked like they were, like, 50 pounds apart. That shit is nuts. She ended up winning that fight. She throws bombs, man. She's tiny, but she throws absolute bombs. And also, she has a decent reach. I want to say that they have an equal reach despite the height. 67. So she has a 1 inch less, despite being 6 inches shorter. So, yeah, I mean, listen, man. Josiane Nunes throws like a man. She's strong as shit. Chelsea Chandler, I mean, I know she's not going to run away every fight, but I will say it does give me a little bit about like the mindset, the mentality. You are the type of person, you're the only person that I've ever seen in the UFC ever in my entire life, man or woman, literally sprint away from your opponent. Yeah, I mean, for me, Chelsea Chandler, also I've noticed that when she gets hit, she literally closes her eyes. You can't fucking do that. Josiane Nunes is going to throw absolute bombs. And Chelsea Chandler, I mean, she's good in the clinch. She does some decent work there. I just don't think she's going to be able to hold her at 5'2", and I think she's going to have a hard time holding her, We say a lot about, like, fighters having trouble with taller people, right? But sometimes fighting, like, look at Volk, right? I'm not saying this girl's Volk, obviously. But you get a little bit of that, right? Where it's like where there's not a big reach disadvantage and somebody shorter and somebody who lacks a lot of experience like Chelsea Chandler, who really doesn't stand out anywhere for me. I got to pick Josiane Nunes here. I'm going to take her by decision. But, yeah, I'll take her by decision. Chelsea Chandler can handle it.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm going with the same exact thing, right? So I'm going Nunes by decision, Dino. But I just want to talk about the running away thing for a second. With Chelsea Chandler, right? Not only like, okay, you see people running away when they're rocked. I get that. We see it all the time.
But it's more like a shuffle away. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm saying, right? They're circling away, or they're kind of like, you know, just backing up, like stumbling or something. She literally was like on this side of the cage, did an about face, and then just straight sprinted.
Dude, had fucking had DC rolling for like 2 minutes straight.
Yeah,
and me too, to be honest.
Unreal image. It was like the meme of the year for MMA. Yeah, look, jokes aside, Chelsea Chandler's a decent fighter. She's not bad, bro. She's big, she's strong, like she's well-rounded, she's tough as shit. But yeah, I think Josiane Nunes ultimately is gonna win this fight. The size difference does worry me a little bit, but it's always the case with her. She's always gonna be the significantly shorter fighter. So I think this
she's 10-1, you know?
Yeah, she's 10-1. Dino, I think this fight could be like a low-key fun fight. I think it'll be fun. It'll be sloppy. It'll get messy. And, man, if we can get another running away meme, that would be dope. But, yeah, I'm going Josiane Nunes by decision.
I hope that's her fucking thing. I really do. I hope that's just her thing. She just dips, dude.
Yeah, like, because think about it, right? If you're hurt and they don't touch you again, you're not going out.
That's just fucking wild, though, dude. Like, just a straight-up sprint. You're in a fucking cage, but that's
hey,
so
like,
fun.
think about it this way. In the main event, we have Tuivasa, right? He gets hurt, and what does he do? He's wobbling all over the place, and he's still throwing bombs. Like Justin Gaethje does the same thing, and then then you got Chelsea Chandler out here looking like Chael Sonnen's daughter, just straight sprinting away. You know,
dude, that should never not be funny to me. I don't know. I can't. I just every time I picture her face too, like just scurrying away.
Unreal.
And Norma Dumont is fucking on her tail, too, which is another thing that kills me. Like the concept of she sprinted right after her.
She's chasing her. Yeah, she's chasing her down.
That's just so funny. Anyway, let's move on. Moving on to the next fight, we've got Mike Davis, and he's taking on Davies' boy Natan Levy. What do you think about this one?
All right. Mike Davis, man. He's a huge favorite on this card. Minus 250 kind of surprised me. He's fast. He's athletic.
It surprised me too, to be honest, after like such a long layoff.
Yeah, it's definitely a little wider than I would like. But yeah, he's fast. He's athletic. You know, he's got good power, great kicks. I wish he would fight more often, to your point. Last time out, he beat Slava Claus using his wrestling. He's super damn well-rounded, and honestly, the dude is pretty special. Again, I just wish that we were able to see him, like...
I agree, bro.
Just in there more often, right? Like, this is a guy
one of my favorite fighters, to be honest.
Yeah, he's a super fun fighter to watch, man. I saw an interview with him, actually, earlier today. He was interviewing with this girl, MMA Maddie. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, I know her.
Yeah. She did the interview with Energy. So shout out Energy and shout out MMA Maddie. But he was on her channel today, and he said that his training camp was good and bad, and he's not going to disclose why it was bad yet. But some shit went down in his training camp. So I wonder if it's an injury. He has been riddled with injuries, which is why we never see the guy fighting. Interested to see how that plays out. He's taking on Davies' boy, Natan Levy. I know Davies like somewhat in contact with him, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. Good grappler, man. High pace wrestler, good jiu-jitsu skills. He's a specialist. He is a ground game specialist. That's really all it is. He's a grappler exclusively on the feet. He's mediocre. He has some good power, but nothing to really write home about. What I don't understand is the matchmaking in this one, Dino. It looked like the UFC was trying to give Natan Levy like a bit of a push. They were giving him kind of subpar competition. They scheduled him against Pete Rodriguez twice, who, as we know, couldn't make weight. And Pete Rodriguez, dog shit. And then he was supposed to fight Alex Reyes. That fight ended up not happening. I think Natan had to pull out of that one. And before that, Genaro Valdez, like, they just gave him all these bad guys. And then they're like, you know what? Mike Davis. Like a huge step up in competition. I don't see really a path to victory for Natan Levy besides Mike Davis being not at 100%, and Natan just using a smothering takedown, like, you know, filled game plan. To me, I just think Mike Davis is levels.
You went muted again just now.
Yeah, I'm going TKO first round Mike Davis. I think he's just going to stuff a couple takedowns and find a big shot.
Yeah. I'm not a huge Natan Levy believer, to be honest with you. I don't think he's bad. Sorry, Davey. He did throw some wild ass hook kicks last time out versus Genaro Valdez, but who the fuck is Genaro Valdez, right? So I noticed and thought the exact same thing you said. I think the UFC was kind of trying to give him some cans and give him a push, get him some wins under his belt to try to pick up that Israeli market. Mike Davis is a goddamn specimen, man. So this is less about Natan Levy to me. And you mentioned maybe he has an injury. I can't even take that into consideration right now. He hasn't disclosed anything, so how can I speculate, right? Yeah, I think he's going to get the KO too. I think Natan Levy maybe survives one round. I'm going to say like early second round KO. And I don't think Natan Levy could even do anything to him on the ground, to be honest with you. I think Mike Davis is physically much stronger. He's so goddamn explosive with his takedowns. He's very dangerous with the hands. He's an incredible striker. He's an incredible wrestler. Dude is really fucking good, man. Like, what a damn shame that we've barely seen him. He's fought once, like, every year for the last 5 years or something like that. Like, so 5 fights in 5 years, that's crazy, dude. Like, but anyway, Natan Levy, he did throw some wild kicks and shit like that. I just don't see that happening against somebody like Mike Davis. I don't think he's going to be doing all that shit. So, yeah, I'm going to take Mike Davis by second round KO.
I wanted to say this, Dino. It's interesting because I know Mike Davis, it's been a couple years, right, that he's only fighting once a year. And for those in the know, like, you know how my mom loves MMA. Like, she's one of the biggest diehards of this sport.
Big time.
And then, dude, she's...
You went muted again, brother.
Hear me? Testing.
Yep.
Testing. We're back. Okay. We really got to figure something out with this wire, by the way. But yeah, so I'm watching film, and she's like, "Who's this guy?" Which is like the first time I've ever seen her say that. And I was like, "Damn, Mike, you don't know Mike Davis?" And it's like she hasn't missed an event in like 4 years, but it's like she doesn't even remember him. That's how much this guy's not in the cage. That she knows the rest of the bums on the bottom of this card, but she doesn't know Mike Davis. That's a shame.
Yep, former Chicago Bear running back.
What?
I said former Chicago Bear running back.
Tripping.
Mike Davis.
You like the Bears' moves so far, or how you feeling?
Not so much. Let's not talk about that.
10-7 football podcast coming up in the fall, guys.
Damn, you down? I'm down.
Maybe fantasy. We'll talk about it.
Okay. Anyway, moving on. Next fight of the night, we've got Gerald Meerchaert, GM3. He's taking on Bryan Barnerena. These guys look very similar when you look at them. Just two white guys with beards. Yeah, listen, man, GM3 still going strong in the middleweight division. He's pretty damn good, man. The thing is, he is a little bit of a slow starter. By the way, you got me on the. There you go.
I'm
trying. He's a slow starter, you know, notoriously slow starter, but he's a tough out for anyone, and he gets better and better as the fight goes on. He's got some power, right? He's pretty slow. His hands are not the fastest. And then, of course, his biggest thing, man, is he's a specialist on the ground. If it gets to the ground, he's better than most in the division, even at his age. It's not like Bryan Barnerena is much younger. He's taken out who his opponent is. I'm sorry. He's on a 3-fight losing streak, but it's also pretty good competition. In my opinion, this is pretty clear and straightforward. If it goes to the ground, GM3 has the very clear advantage. And the stand-up, maybe I trust Bryan Barnerena a little bit more, but neither of these two guys like the epitome of technique striking, right? On the ground is where Barnerena is the weakest. I'm gonna go with GM3 unless Barnerena knocks him out early. And I know GM3 gets a lot of shit for getting knocked out by Hamzat violently, but overall his chin's not like the worst, you know. So yeah, I'm gonna take Meerchaert. I'm gonna say third round sub.
All right. Hopefully my mic's working this time.
It is. Scared, though.
All right. So, yeah, look, Dino, I mean, we know what this fight is, right? We don't need to break down too much. It's a grappler versus a brawler kind of fighter. Like, but the thing with Bryan Barberena is he's a brawler, but he's not a brawler with like crazy power. He doesn't have like one-shot power.
Right. You went muted again now, bro.
This is so infuriating.
Infuriating.
Yeah, it's really annoying. But thank you guys for bearing with us, if you're bearing with us. But yeah, Bryan Barberena.
Nobody's gotten this far.
Nobody's gotten this far. This is our worst episode yet. But anyways.
It might be.
It is. Trust me, it is. But anyways, Bryan Barberena, not that much power. I don't think he could put Gerald Meerchaert out with one shot. And that's really what you got to worry about with Gerald Meerchaert. Eventually, this fight's going to get to the ground. I think Gerald Meerchaert is levels above Bryan Barberena in the ground game. Bryan Barberena is 9-9 in the UFC. Gerald Meerchaert is 10-9 in the UFC. They're both kind of like middling guys, but GM3's fought the tougher competition. And as of late, even though they've both been losing, GM3 has looked okay at times, whereas I don't remember Bryan Barberena looking good since he fought Robbie Lawler. And that was Robbie Lawler when we thought Robbie Lawler was absolutely done. So there was like no shine given to Barberena on that fight. Yeah, Gerald Meerchaert should win this fight either by decision, but I have a round 2 sub on this one. So either decision or sub. For sure.
Moving on, we've got, I think it's our last women's fight of the card. It's your girl Pannie Kinzad. She's taking on Macy Chiasson. What do you think about this one?
Okay, let me switch the thing. Boom. All right. Rematch of the Ultimate Fighter finale, from like 6 or 7 years ago. Pannie Kinzad, she's a boxer. She's super technical with the boxing. It's not every day you see a woman in the UFC with that kind of like boxing skill. You know what I mean? Decent job on the feet, like staying away from takedowns. Even though you'd never know it, like, because here, how do I want to phrase this? You would never know that Pannie Kinzad is a good defensive wrestler because she got taken down like 70 times in the last like 2 fights. But before that, she used to show that off like a good amount. She lost to Ketlin Vieira and Raquel Pennington, who's the world champion, which I totally forgot about. Like,
me too.
Those are quality losses. So it's like, it's weird, man. Like at the time, those didn't look like the best losses to have, but now shit, they look pretty good. She was on a 3-fight win streak before that. So I don't know what to make of her. Take all that with
again.
God damn it. She's taking on Macy Chiasson. She's super damn tall. She's long-bodied as hell. She looks like a high school boys basketball player. She normally utilizes her long-ass reach, and she does a good job with that, right? Good job with the jab, good job with the kicks to stay at range and kind of keep these shorter fighters, and everyone's shorter when they're fighting Macy Chiasson. She does a good job keeping them at range. And if she's not in range, or she's not out of range, she does a great job at getting into the clinch. She's really good there, and she's really good on the outside. She kind of struggles in like that middle ground area. So if she's able to do that, she should be able to beat Pannie. And then last few fights, she's really been working in takedowns, which is something I never thought we'd see from Macy Chiasson. So, hey, man, she's still improving. I feel like Macy's good enough and tall enough to avoid any problems that are coming her way from Pannie. And she's definitely the better fighter on the ground now. Pannie can't get up when she gets taken down. Macy Chiasson by decision. I'm fairly confident in it for a women's fight here. I'm actually going to be betting this one, and it's probably going to be in my parlays.
Okay, good to know. By decision specifically?
No, I'll just money line, man. 175 is great, I think.
Yeah, I'm definitely less confident than you are, man. But I agree with you. I am going to pick Chiasson as well. She won their first fight by one. I want to say rear naked. But man, Pannie Kinzad's boxing, like you said, is really, really damn good. I think she's kind of live, to be honest with you. So I'm definitely not as confident as you are. But like you said, man, the mixing into the takedowns with Chiasson, and also there's just going to be such a size disadvantage for Pannie Kinzad. Unless she gets chinned and, just starts taking a bunch of blows. But I think she's just smart enough and big enough to be able to, even if she gets clipped, to kind of push off and stay out of the way, use her kicks. Pannie Kinzad doesn't throw like any kicks at all. And I think that's going to work against her too. So I agree with you. I'm going to take Chiasson by decision here. Not quite as confident as you are, though. Oh. Moving on. What's up?
I said facts, brother.
Facts, brother. Moving on. Next fight of the night. It's, of course, C-Rod, Christian Rodriguez. He's taking on Isaac Dulgarian, the Midwest Choppa. Fun fact, we have a picture with C-Rod on our Instagram. If you haven't yet, check that out at the 107MMA on Instagram. We're slapped. We're at the club with C-Rod for whatever reason. Anyway, this is a tough one, man. I've gone back and forth on this one a bunch of times. C-Rod is moving up a weight class, so there's, some kind of unknown there. He's fucking had a lot of trouble missing weight at 135 a bunch of times. He's moving up. But Isaac Dulgarian, man, pretty damn big, pretty damn jacked. Like, just a big dude for 145. So I think C-Rod is one of the few times in his career where he's going to have a distinct size disadvantage here, in my opinion. C-Rod is well-rounded, man. He's primarily a kickboxer, right? But he's got a lot of good scrambles. He's got some nice trips and stuff like that. We saw him do a great job on the ground versus Raul Rosas. He did a good job against Cameron Simon on the ground too. But man, Isaac Dulgarian is just, I think, a lot physically stronger, in my opinion. And the size, he's like, again, I think he's a guy that's used to being bigger. He's not going to be bigger here. Isaac Dulgarian also has a shit ton of power, throws vicious ground and pound, has good wrestling. I'm kind of big on Isaac Dulgarian, to be honest with you, man. I want to pick C-Rod. I like C-Rod. We got the photo with him. I think he's going to get knocked down the first round.
What a great transition. I like him. Yeah. I love him. I think he's so nice. He's going to sleep.
I got to be honest.
Yeah, and I feel you. Look, I don't disagree with you, man. I do like C-Rod a lot. He is the prospect killer. We've seen him beat Raul Rosas. We've seen him beat Cameron Simon. I just don't understand the matchmaking once again on this card. It's like, why the hell does C-Rod, after beating two of the prospects, like two of your young prospects that you were trying to push, that you still want to push, you just give him another young guy? Like, we never see guys the same age fighting in the UFC like this early on. You know what I mean? So it just doesn't really make sense to me. Dulgarian, I don't think the UFC knew what they had in him last time out. He beat Francis Marshall. He beat the shit out of Francis Marshall. They were trying to kind of push Francis Marshall, if you remember from the Contender Series or whatever. Like, I don't know, man. Dulgarian, he's scary as hell.
The good thing about those situations is, like, if you get a dominating win over somebody that they're trying to push, it's like, okay, cool, we'll just push this guy now.
Yeah, you would think so, right? But I don't know. This is a tough matchup for Dulgarian too. It's not a cakewalk, but
no question.
Yeah, regardless, man. I love C-Rod. Dulgarian's scary. I think we see Dulgarian use his takedowns here, Dino, use his ground and pound. I don't think he's going to make the mistakes that Raul Rosas made, mainly in, he has better fight IQ and better cardio, right? So I think Dulgarian just gets it to the ground and eventually gets a TKO to ground and pound.
Yeah, that's exactly how I see it going too. TKO, not like a clean flash knockout.
Not getting schlumped is what you're saying.
No.
Okay.
Anyway, moving on. We've got your boy Kennedy Nzechukwu. He's taking on Ovince St. Preux. Why the fuck is this a thing in 2024? Dino Bam Bam, tell me more.
Speaking of schlumped, you feel me? Speaking of schlumped.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's but look, yes, true. But that's what's happening in this fight. We know that that's happening. To me, Dino, this is the layup of the card. I really don't even want to waste time talking about it. I'd rather just, let you guys know that I think Ovince St. Preux retires after this one. He's 40 years old. He's been chinned a bunch of times. He doesn't throw punches anymore. He's super low volume, low output. So he's hesitant to fight. I don't know why he's stepping back in the cage. Kennedy, also a slow starter, but when he gets going, and he's got serious fucking power. So I just think round one is a feel out process. And I think at the beginning of round two, Kennedy absolutely sparks out OSP. And then we see OSP put the gloves down.
Yeah. I have that pretty much exactly that written down. Like, this fight's kind of a disgrace to us, to be honest with you. And also the audacity to make this the fucking featured fight is like a big fuck you to us, in my opinion. So Kennedy Nzechukwu may be the most questionable chin in the entire sport. I will say that. So he's always live to be knocked out by like a strong breeze or just fucking Herb Dean got a little too close to him. It's over, bro. Dude has no chin at all. But Ovince St. Preux doesn't have any chin, and he's 40, and he should have retired 2 years ago at least. His last win was against the fucking shadow or corpse or whatever you want to call it of Shogun Rua. I mean, this is just such a weird fight, man. It doesn't make any sense to me. Kennedy Nzechukwu, I'm going to say in the first round. I think he gets going a little bit earlier here and just chins his ass in the first. This is such a stupid fight.
Real quick, two things. I was at that OSP and Shogun fight. That absolutely sucked. You okay?
Yeah.
Someone break into your house or what?
I don't know what the fuck that was, to be honest with you. So if I got ghosts in here, show your face, man.
But yeah, I was at that OSP and Shogun fight. It sucked. The other thing with Kennedy, you mentioned the chin. It's weird because it's not like, again, it's just a weird chin. Like we've seen him get slumped by like jabs, and then you see him take bombs from Carlos Ulberg, and he's okay. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It is super damn weird.
Maybe there's like a literal like button. He has like one
yeah.
spot. He has like one spot on his chin. Everywhere else is like rock solid, and then it's just like,
hey, whoa.
What's going on, bro? How the fuck is that? Anyway.
You know what sucks? You know what sucks, Dean?
What? You went muted again, bro.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm getting muted because of the ghost in your house. But here's the thing. Yeah. What's going to happen here is somebody's going to be watching this on YouTube. They're going to see like a ghost behind you or something. And unfortunately,
fuck you. If you do, don't fucking tell me. I just got
unfortunately for us, they're going to be watching our worst episode ever. So
thank God nobody's going to get this far.
Yeah.
So hella noises going on though. Hella noises. Anyway, co-main event of the evening. Bryan battle taking on Ange Loosa. Two great fighters, man, but what a fucking disappointing co-main event, quite frankly. Ange Loosa's really good, man. He's really good. Bryan battle's really good. If you looked at these guys, this is one of those fights where if you looked at these guys on like as a non-UFC fan or just a regular, person, a casual, whatever, and you're like, who of these guys are going to win this fight? 10 out of 10 people would say Ange Loosa because he's jacked. And Bryan Battle just looks like a nice little guy. Like he doesn't look like somebody that, would be fighting and shit. To me, Bryan Battle's going to win this fight, though. I think it's close. Yeah, I just got to go with him, man. I think he's got to be careful in the first round. Ange Loosa's dangerous as shit. I don't think Ange Loosa's going to have an easy time taking Bryan Battle down. I think this fight is really going to take place mostly on the feet. I think if it does go to the ground, Bryan Battle's long enough where he's actually kind of live for a sub. Yeah, it's kind of a tough fight to predict, man. Ange Loosa has a great chin, too. Bryan Battle, we've seen him take a shit ton of damage and come back and win fights. He's so damn tough. So I really don't see a finish in this fight. I think both these guys are way too tough to get finished. I just trust Bryan Battle's cardio more. I trust him as a striker more. I think he could even get a sub, to be honest, but I think I'll take him by decision here. I see Pooh, but I don't hear you, brother. I don't hear you again.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? All right. Pooh Bear brought out, right? Hey, Brian Pooh Bear Battle is going to win this fight, Dino, and I'll tell you why, okay? I'll tell you why. This guy has impressed the shit out of me.
That guy?
Well, yeah, this guy for sure, but this guy, this guy's world famous. This guy's world famous. But Bryan Battle, for real, man, he's been impressive, dude. Like, at first, me and you have talked about this so many damn times on this show. I didn't love the people and the fighters from that season of the contender of Ultimate Fighter, right?
Yeah, I think he was the winner.
I like Trayshawn Gore as a prospect, and I like Bryan Battle a little bit as a prospect. And everyone else is kind of whatever. Ricky Tercios ended up being bad, and Brady Highstand's kind of like whatever. So they weren't impressive, but man, he's looked so damn good since his debut, and he gets better every single time, minus that one fight where he got absolutely mauled when he shouldn't have been fighting the bearded fella that he fought. I forget his name. But regardless, man, he's been so damn impressive.
Was that Rinat Fakhretdinov? You're again muted, bro. This is getting ridiculous now.
I know, it's obnoxious. We got Pooh Bear, we got Casper at your house. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, it was Fakhretdinov. Dino, I don't want it to like down talk Ange Loosa. I feel like a lot of people are underrating how good Ange Loosa is, though.
He's really good.
It's because the way he looks, right? The thing that you were saying, the guy looks absolutely jacked. I feel like anyone you match him up with in the UFC, if you told the casual guy who's going to win it, they're going to pick him, like you said. Not just against Bryan Battle, against most people. But he comes in and he lost his first fight via decision. Then he won his next two via decision. And it's like, okay, this guy's not putting people out. He doesn't have power. He does have power. He has absolute power, but, you know, it just doesn't always happen for you.
Yeah.
The guy is technical as shit, good low kicks, good everything, bro. I'm really impressed by Ange Loosa, and that should let you know how impressed I have been with Bryan Battle. I think it's close to 50-50, but if that's the case, I got to side with Bryan Battle. I'm going decision, but I don't hate what you said. The sub is a possibility too.
Yep. And of course, we've got the main event of the evening. Listen, I love Tuivasa, man. I love him as much as the next guy, but main event, Ty versus Marcin Tybura. Weird, you know. Both coming off losses too, I want to say. It's just a weird heavyweight main event. But what do you think about it?
All right. So, yeah, it's one of those fight night main events that's just kind of like bullshit. But Tai Tuivasa, a fun name, like a fan-friendly name. So I'm down for it. But anyways, a lot of stuff in this fight.
That's what they're banking on, you know?
That's exactly what it is, right? You get the casuals involved, and then they know the diehards are going to watch everything. So a lot of stuff in this fight, Dino. Everything is pointing at Marcin Tybura winning this fight. He has a grappling advantage. That's one thing. He was also on a bit of a run before losing to Tom Aspinall. How much can you take away from a guy for losing to Tom Aspinall? He's the champion of the world right now, interim champ, right? So I don't really think you take too much away from Tybura for that. We've gotten to the point now, Dino, also where with Tai Tuivasa, I think we all can come to like this consensus agreement that he was overrated. He was a bit overrated, right? And not only was he overrated, he overachieved a little bit. He overshot where he should have been in the rankings, but they put him in there against the top guys in the division. He got absolutely mauled by two of them. And then last time out, he fought the prototypical gatekeeper in Volkov, and he lost to Volkov. And again, no knock towards Volkov. I think he's an awesome fighter, but he is the gatekeeper at heavyweight, and he's been that for like 7-8 years now. So, and then you have Tuivasa's knee injury. There's so many things that are saying Tybura should win this fight. But ultimately, I just seen Tybura get knocked out too damn much. And last time he got knocked out pretty damn badly by Tom Aspinall, that I can't imagine that if Tai Tuivasa catches him with something that he wouldn't go out. We've seen Tybura knocked out by Derek Lewis. Last time out by Aspinall. There's a couple other ones. I think Jairzinho Rosenstrike. There's a couple guys that have put him to sleep in the UFC. And it's just Augusto Sakai, Shamil Abdurrahman. Like, it's crazy, man. He gets slumped often. And if Tai Tuivasa's touching you with them big-ass Australian meat hooks, you're probably going to sleep. So, again, another fight where I don't want to bet at all. Super long-winded, but I have to go with Tai Tuivasa. I just don't know that Tybura's chin can hold up. But if it does hold up, he's got a damn good shot at beating Tuivasa via sub, because Tuivasa ain't got shit for him on the ground.
Yep. Yeah, what Tuivasa does have those really nice leg kicks. Marcin Tybura pretty heavy on that front leg, susceptible to leg kicks. Also, not the best chin. I mean, not like an awful chin, but not the best chin. Also, Tuivasa is going to be probably about 285 in there on fight, come fight night. Tybura fights at like 246. He doesn't cut any weight, right? I think he's going to be like a much smaller guy in there. Tai Tuivasa, like, not the most technical guy, like you said, but he does have a penchant for getting up once he gets dropped, right? So I don't see Tybura really wrestling this big-ass man like that. I think he's going to get knocked down in the first round, to be honest with you.
Okay, so you're going round 1 KO.
I'm going round 1 KO for Tuivasa.
Okay, I'm going round 2, but let me just say that he did tear his meniscus in January. So
Tuivasa?
Yeah, so that's why this fight's happening now. So I just wonder if it's like too soon.
Fuck, like, that is so soon, though.
Yeah, so who knows how it holds up.
Meniscus is not fun either, man. Fuck.
Yeah, you've done that, right? You tore your meniscus. I tore your meniscus.
Well, maybe retore it, but yeah.
Yeah, so there's that. Anyways, guys, this shitty card is done. This shitty video is almost done, right? Do you know?
Yeah, sorry, guys. This shit was fucked up.
Really bad.
I gotta go find Casper. Thanks for tuning in. It'll be better. This is fucked up, obviously. We just, our shit was fucked up today. What are we supposed to do?
Hey, not only fucked up, Dino, fucked up late. We're dropping it on a fucking Wednesday night. What is wrong with us? What is wrong with us?
Whatever.
And a shitty card to boot. But anyways, guys, if you somehow made it to the end of this video, and I don't know how in the world you could have enjoyed this one, but if you did, do us a favor, hit the little thumbs up, ring the little bell, say some shit in the comments, tell us it was fucking awful or whatever. Also follow us on Instagram at D107MMA. We just put up a picture with C-Rod, as Dino said earlier. Next week's card, shit gets like kind of whatever, a little more mid. Amanda Hebos, Doug Rose main event. Peyton Talbot, Cameron Simon is a fight I'm interested in. We got Billy Q and then Mick Parkin and Mo Usman. Should be fun. Road to 300 begins right now. Dino, any last words for this fucking unreal
give me out here, please.
All right, guys, he's DS. I'm Dino Bam Bam. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.